I note the New York Post, which I wouldn't have thought was terribly friendly to Mr. Trump, reports that the American people, the research is showing at the moment, believe that the current president suffers from all of the issues we've just been talking about, that he's too old, in a nutshell. Trump is not very much younger, and actually he makes a lot of slips as well, but they're perceived completely differently. That you could actually, raise real questions about both men's age and sharpness, but that's not the way it's seen by Americans.
Well, the proof of the pudding is always in the eating. So yesterday, Donald Trump, as his custom, he'll get up in front of a audience. He will have a teleprompted script like Biden had. He will follow it, but ad-lib constantly, and then he'll go off, but he will stand on his feet for an hour and a half and speak. And sometimes the results can be very controversial, like he said about NATO, trolling NATO, or trying to get sort of a threat to NATO to beef up their arms and brag about what he did in a very bizarre way. But the point I'm making is no one says that, and as they do of Biden, he doesn't know where to stand. He calls, once in a while, he may confuse two politicians, but he doesn't do it every time. It's a rare occasion that deserves media scrutiny. But Joe Biden has so acculturated people, they just say he doesn't know where he is. And at the press conference, it was designed to show people that he was in control of the facts. He suggested that the president of Egypt was actually the president of Mexico, that the corridor of Gaza into Egypt was, I guess he was trying to relate it somehow to the influx coming into the United States in a confused manner. He didn't know, he mentioned the rosary. He denied that he had confused the dates, the tragic dates of the death of his son. But of course, all of that is on a record. So that prompted the case. If all these spokesmen say this is despicable, it didn't happen, all you have to do is allow the special counsel to release the transcript. I shouldn't say the transcript. They have done that, but the audio. And you can hear Joe Biden in his own words. And of course, they don't want to do that. And they're in a rock and a hard place, getting back to Mr. Herr's report, because if you read the 350 plus pages, it is a damning portrait of a senator, a vice president, a private citizen who knew that he had violated the law for over 30 years. And contrary to what his spokesman have said, that he was civically inclined the moment he knew, he didn't do anything about these classified documents, and he couldn't plead ignorance because in 2017, even at that late date, he remarked to his ghostwriter that he had classified documents in his possession, and he waited 5 years to tell anybody. And of course, the ghostwriter erased that tape, and it was only found out by forensics. But my point is, the only reason we know anything about Joe Biden's legal exposure, which prompted that disastrous press conference, was on November 2nd, his attorneys found out about this. And how did they find out? Were they looking? No. They had discussed appointing a special counsel, and that, in fact, would be appointed on November 18th. So the scenario obviously was, we're just about to get Donald Trump. We're going to get a special prosecutor. And oh my God, we better check before we announce it if we have the same exposure, because it might leak out. And they asked Biden and they asked his team. They said, yes, we do. So they got it out for the first time, and then they packaged it as if he was following the law in a way that Donald Trump wasn't. And that is, everybody understands that in the United States. And almost everything that they have editorialized about the special counsel is false. The locations were multiple. The garage, if you take a look at the special counsel's photograph within the report, it's a mess. It looks like somebody's swap meet sale. And of course, he didn't have prerogative as a senator, a vice president, or a private citizen, as does a president, to declassify documents. So they're stuck with this idea that the prosecutor, the first paragraph, as you remember, John, says that it's the Department of Justice policy not to indict a sitting president.
Yep.
So what they do is they say, here is the damning evidence, but we can't indict him. But it's not just because it's not the policy of the Justice Department to indict him. It's because he's non compos mentis. And then they give you several examples of a habitual problem of memory loss, mischaracterization, misidentification. And that meant for the teen Biden, they were in a rock and a hard place. So they variate, they gyrate. One day it is, how dare the special counsel say that the president of the United States is crazy or impaired and not fit to stand trial, therefore he wouldn't be fit to obviously be president. The next day it is, look at the special counsel report, read it very carefully. It says he will not indict the president. It's a clean bill of health. And so they have a choice, a Faustian bargain between saying the president is innocent of criminality, but he's not fit to serve, or he's fit to serve, but he should have been indicted.